against INC. By the way, that's not INC. INC has been taking a lot of damage, but it's not gonna be enough to completely pick them off. But over here, we're seeing Enzo is trying to get for the push, but unfortunately will be getting punished instead. Shoti getting those shots in. A lot of knocks on the side of INC, and actually that's 2 whole eliminations on their side. But over here, AKAZAYA has another idea, going in aggressively into this building, trying to see if they can hunt down the last 2 members of INC. And with that, AKAZAYA is putting a lot of pressure on their side, especially with 1 knock. And so all this means is that once this last member, this is Jinwoo, once Jinwoo goes down by the hands of Leons, it's gonna be over, and that is a total team elimination on the side of .inc.
And now back to the game with 14 teams currently up and running. Club Leons would be going to heal up their teammates just to have that fighting chance that they're gonna be able to do later on. And yeah, I mean, that skirmish was already done. We're already back into the looting phase, and the map is still quite big. So all of the teams don't really see each other just yet. It was just that moment. But for now, yeah, they will be pretty much just looting anything that they can get and preparing and maybe repositioning later on as well.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna be repositioning later because right now Leon's, they can kind of reset, but LF is not giving them time to breathe. They're already kind of like circling around like vultures, trying to be the third party. All the while, Leon's is still trying to reset from that previous engagement. But it looks like La Familia Esports are kind of just waiting for a little bit more information before they kind of go in and really commit to this engagement. And it looks like they're still waiting. But all the while, Nahil actually already has 1 elimination on their side. So La Familia Esports, they definitely have a good start to the game, but that goes the same with a lot of teams. And of course, these teams, some of these teams are really teams that we have to look out for, especially Syndicate, which we can see on our screens right now. They are currently top number 2 in the leaderboards with 61 points. And of course, top number 1 is still VETM7. Yesterday, they had such an impressive run. It's no wonder they're number 1. And of course, OPZ coming in third. They had some few chicken dinners as well. And so with 54 points, we're just really excited to see how they'll perform later on.
And for now, still, while we are going to be chilling with all of these teams right here, maybe we did get some few damages from left and right, especially the Cyanide has been spotted. But for the side of Cyanide, they also get 1 down. That's going to be against the Syndicate, and they've decided to fully commit to this one and fight them against each other. And since they have been spotted already, then, they might actually just, commit. And, they're going to be going to resurrect their teammates. That's just going to be it. The map is still quite big. But yeah, I mean, currently, the current holder, of course, that was our first placer yesterday. So it's just gonna be their challenge to hold this one out until the end. Now back to the game. Cyanide 1 will take 1 down, but Syndicate also will take another one. It's just gonna be a trade, a 1-on-1 trade. But with Cyanide, they're left with 2 players remaining. Haisam will try to fight back, but the bullets will not connect just yet. We'll have to reposition. But he got spotted out in the open. Haisam with no choice but to fight and use the grass to his advantage, hoping he would not get spotted. Syndicate, on the other hand, Takuro throwing those smokes just to give cover to Nahi, who is needing some recovery.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to watch this. Cyanide, I don't think it's looking good for the side of Haisam. They're very low on health, but Syndicate just can't finish him off just yet. But Blanky, I don't know what their plan is, but they definitely got Bogobo from the back. And so with that, that's 1 elimination on their side. And actually, there are only 2 left on the side of Cyanide, so they gotta work together really well. Dakuru, Crosshair's out. They have Blanky on their targets, and Blanky's quite low on health, so I'm a little bit worried for there. 1 more bullet, and I think that'll be finishing him off. But over here, Takuru, I think they also have a plan against Blanky. They have their black car, and they're revving their engines up. I don't know if they're gonna be trying for that vehicle elimination, but definitely Blanky's not gonna let them get away that easily. Lots of bullets coming in. It looks like Cyanide's kind of suffering. Haisam's taking a lot of damage, and that's actually a confirmation on their side now. It's all that's left for Cyanide is Blanky.
And here we have a couple of sprays just to cut them down. But Lucifer will not connect those shots just yet. They will be able to get away. Lucifer, now being slowly chipped away by the blue zone, will have to stay alive before he can make sure that everything is safe and that they can move on to the play zone. For now, looking at LHC, where they've already spotted enemies as well, and would probably be just chilling back, especially that they got a protection. They got the house right here that they can really just protect themselves from any upcoming attacks. So they're just gonna be staying here, maybe get those skills later on, and yeah, that will be pretty much it. For the side of VETM7, they currently have 75 points. They have to hold this one out until the end. But back into the game, OPZ will find one that's gonna be Botbro getting that kill and would probably be looking for a confirmation one before Botbro decides to storm this house right here alone, 1v4. But here to the side of TTS, Shafu very low and just one more hit before he goes down. Still tries to fight them, but without it was just unfortunate he just goes down. And for now, TTS Esports is helping his teammates as well, but with OPZ Esports now taking control in this side, it does look like La Familia would be facing a very huge casualty.
Yeah, and we're actually looking at two different engagements. Quite exciting. TTS versus Leon's Esports on a bit of a vehicle kind of engagement. But all the while, OPZ Esports, they have to worry about the building. So it's all about throwables right now. OPZ looking good for them so far. 3 eliminations and all 4 players still left standing. But how long will that stay true, especially with La Familia Esports going against them? But unfortunately, it's Paradox that will be taking down Aizen 99. Molotov burning the ground. Paradox taking some damage. And Aizen 99 actually definitely gets finished off. Sahube walks into that Molotov, takes some damage, but I think they'll survive. Mash with their crosshairs out. Zeno unfortunately gets a knockdown, and all that's left on the side of La Familia Esports will be Viper. And just taking a look at this map, I mean, there's so many opponents left and right, up and down. Viper, I'm not sure what their plan is gonna be, but they're definitely not gonna be surviving very long, especially if OPZ decides to storm into the room.
Oh, the grenade goes in! Rifa will find that elimination. Paradox with nowhere to run, just crawling away from the enemies. He gets hunted down. Mash from OPC Esports just inside this house together with Botbro. They have to think of something else, especially that the enemies are coming their way. They could be invaded anytime soon, and they really have to make sure a path is clear for them to come out. But on the other hand, look at the kill field. LHC will find one. Viper also finding one, confirming the kill. Rifa now going down.
I mean, that's absolutely crazy. Viper's all alone, and look at the health. I guess he has the chance to kind of get that reset to the bag, but with Eddie inside that building, I'm not sure how long they have before they eventually get knocked down. But Viper is really giving that survivability, and it's just giving La Familia Esports the placement points that they need. But of course, once again, we're still 13 minutes in, but still Viper gets that knock. No way, that's the third elimination on their side. To think that he was all alone for like how many minutes? Viper still surviving despite so many opponents crawling about this compound.
And yeah, here we have it, still tuning into the game. The Molotov already.
No.
The Molly just burns them down. La Familia Esports will be going by, and they now have 4 chances remaining to secure their spots. Circle will be closing in less than a second, but NRS Criminal will get a kill, waiting to confirm that one. Toxic, on the other hand, also gets one. That's gonna be Bullet, needing some recovery from his teammates. And yeah, there we have it still. On the side of OPZ Esports, they're having a difficulty getting out of this area.
Yeah, and I mean, Lucifer, the devil himself. I wonder what their plan is. I mean, this is a funny spot to be in. This is a cliff towards the river, and there's a circle over there. I guess they're trying to gatekeep the bridge, but they'll be having to kind of play the patience game really soon. But over here, this compound is not having a good time. LHC is trying to be the third party in this group, but Lucidity is taking a lot of damage. And Mash is on the red, needs that revive, but OPZ, I have a faith in them so far. They have such a good run, but let's see how they'll perform right now with LHC fresh off looting, fresh off traveling into the compound. They definitely have a lot of resources and they've healed themselves up, so they have that advantage. But all the while, OPZ, Mash, they're not getting finished off just yet. I guess LHC wants them to kind of like lure out Bot Bro, which is like one other player on the side of OPZ. The other one, like the only chance for Mash to get revived. All the while, VETM7, Admiral, and Orpheus, the last two players are standing on their side. They're not making any moves. I think they're trying to play defensively and trying to play as safely as possible, despite still being two players on their side.
They're playing this one defensively, especially if you're currently in number one spot, and you have no plans to give that to anyone. So why go fight? You can just get those chicken dinner, especially being the last two members. But for now, from the side of Lons Esports, Vitali would be down, would be needing some backup. LHE Esports with 49. Also, the rest of his teammates would be trying to storm this place as well. But there are a lot of hidden angles. They can be really eliminated at any time soon. Vitali, on the other hand, would be confirmed dead, and now still the rest of the enemies right here are just taking control. They're making the compound right here their minimap. The sort of a minimap right here, just throwing the grenades, just using this as an arena. OPZ will find another grenade, but he is still very, very safe from that. Orpheus, on the other hand, would be eliminated by the grenade. Still will be waiting for a confirmation kill. LHC 49, he will be going down as well. Admiral, the last member for spots one, as they open the door, but he goes down. It was just too late.
I mean, that's quite unfortunate for VTM7. I mean, they had really a huge disadvantage, especially in terms of numbers. So I kind of understand, but I was hoping that they'd get a lot of points, especially in the first map, since they did so well yesterday. But of course, some maps are just a little bit different, especially with the element of luck. And speaking of luck, Luzum's not having a good time on the side of Lons Esports. They get knocked down, but good thing they didn't get finished off just yet. But how long will that stay true? Look at that circle. It's quite small, but I believe there's still several teams. There's 11 teams, in fact, that's still like on the run, and there's more than 20 players still standing. So later on, once that circle closes into a very small area, it's gonna be really fun. There's gonna be a lot of gunshots, like right now, Lucidity versus Botro. It will be Lucidity. They'll be going down by the hands of Botro with that SMG, and Botro is gonna go outside. Definitely gave out their location. 1 versus 1 outside, and with that, Botro gets another kill with a sliver of health left. Now, the question is, will Botro survive this? 4 eliminations so far, and they're all alone, and LHC is on their tail. Outside this room, yep, Botro loses their life, unfortunately, to the hands of LHC.
OPC Esports, the next team that will be eliminated is gonna be LN and NRS. And now we're down to the last 9 teams in just 18 minutes, almost 19 minutes already from here. And yeah, TELETUBBIES Esports would also be looting while they prepare for a big fight later on. For now, La Familia still complete, and we are going to be facing a very huge disadvantage right here for Syndicate, as they are remaining with 2 members remaining, and they've also been spotted. So they could be removed from anytime soon. And they're just trying their best to dodge these bullets. They're trying to make it in the last few teams before they can try to get the chicken dinner. But yeah, for now, La Familia will be chasing them down. The guns just connecting, and really, it just takes a little bit more to take them down. One more hit before Thugs can claim that kill, but it was just too late. SM2 still tries to make a shot, but he will miss it. Lucifer, on the other hand, would be eliminated, and that's gonna be a team elimination from the side of Teletubbies Esports and Syndicate.
Oh, take a look at that leaderboard. The top 3 teams are already eliminated off, and we're down to 7 teams left, and that's 15 players left standing in this wonderful Erangel map. But look at Blanky from Cyanide, is still surviving. I believe they were all alone like 10 minutes in, and they still managed to kind of survive all the way towards the 20-minute mark. But over here, we're looking at La Familia RIP. Not sure what their plan is gonna be, but definitely, since this is an open field, They're gonna have to hide behind their cars and think of their placements, their positioning really smart. Really they have to think of it really well. But over here, we're looking at Leon's couple. Pretty good spot to be in. I mean, in this open field kind of last stand, it's quite an advantage if you have a building on your side. And look at this, Carlos. I'm saying advantage because Carlos is in a very bad position. You're getting surrounded by all sides, and with only just the the boulder kind of like getting all those bullets away from you. And I don't know how long Carlos is gonna stay alive, but they're definitely not having a good time.
Yeah, for now, Club Leons, on the other hand, they have their spots. They can be protected right here, but with the circle closing in, they might have to move, especially that they have been staying near, just near the danger zone. So they really have to do it later on, especially that the circle will be updated anytime. And I think it just updated, but for now, 7 teams currently remaining on the side of JAANUN FIDHAA, one member remaining before he will get eliminated. That's gonna be RIP taking them down, and now we are down to the last 6 teams with the circle so small, and the terrain right here. There are just no houses. They can only use the natural landscapes to their advantage.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. Whoa! Blanky gets ran over by Rip! And that's the end for SDMZ Cyanide. Unfortunately, after surviving for so long, they get eliminated off as the top 6 team on this map. And so we're definitely gonna move on. We're down to our last 5 teams. That's TTS, LHC, Leons, RIP, and OPT. And I'm sure that circle's gonna close in on a very small place. But TTS Esports Nape, we're down to 2 players on their side. Nape is trying to see if they can get their first elimination because right now they have nothing. They have 0, and of course it would be good if they do have placement points right now, but it'll be good if they can get some eliminations on their side. But Nape over here is getting a lot of bullets in, but unfortunately it's not giving the damage that they need. And all that's doing is kind of giving away their position, their information. So that's not really good for them. But Couple trying to go in, trying to see if they can get a lot of eliminations on their side, and they do. Couple bags those 2 eliminations, and with that, they're gonna go ahead and reset their positioning. 1 versus 1 combo gets another knockdown on their side. It's crazy kind of performance going in for Club Leons.
Yeah, and we have here Club Leons and TTS Esports, RGCoptika as well. But Kalpo will go down.
Ooh.
While also being traded, Axams will be going to heal his teammate up just after smoking. And yeah, for now, the rest of the teams, we have the remaining 4 teams right here, just currently trying their best to stay alive. Especially that the circle could end them later on if they got spotted. LHC on the other hand, I think they have been detected by RGCoptika. A couple of grenades just to get them down, but it will not be enough just yet. 2 members of LHC versus the last member for Optica.
So this is just a waiting game for now. And LHC, they have the numbers advantage. They do have 2 players on their side. That goes the same with Club Leons and TTS actually. It's just gonna be OPT that everyone's gonna be a little bit worried about because they're quite all alone. But of course, what OPT can do at this moment is kind of wait for these 3 teams to pick each other off before trying to get as high of a placement points as possible. But Alicia, I don't think they're gonna let OPT get away with that. 49 spots behind the boulder. Wow, that's a lot of damage. And with that, just 1 grenade. Manko bags that win and eliminates OPT off of the top 4.
Yeah, and we have here the last 3 teams. Ooh, the bullet takes him down. FIDHAA will be needing some revive from his teammates. TTS Esports down to the last member. Club Leons and LHC tied up with 2 members remaining. And all they can do right here is just to spot, is be the first team to spot them down. Axams from Club Leons will be taking 1 down for side of TTS. And they will be needing some backup. For now, both of the Leons are still pretty much alive. LHC Esports also alive, but right here, ooh, what is he doing? But yeah, looking at FIDHAA as well, he at least got revive, so he's gonna go for a heal, but he's down once again before the team is gonna be eliminated, and we're down to the last two teams. Club Leons and LHC Esports, both with 2 members each. Now, who's gonna win? That's gonna be the question. He finds one. Axams goes for the shot, but LHC 49 makes it out alive.
49 still alive. Axams, that goes the same with them as well. But this is the exciting part. We're down to 2 teams. Club Leons, LHC. And we're out here in the open field. And I'm pretty sure that circle's not going to get any more smaller. And so with that, Kalpo and 49, they're having an F1 race right now. But no one's going down, no one's taking damage, and not much engagement going on. They're just sizing each other up, and they're not really bumping into each other. But Kalpo disembarks, gets those sprays on. He's not tossing the damage that they need. They're not even taking down the vehicle at this moment. But LHC disembark as well. Kalpo takes a lot of damage. A little bit worried for them, but I think they have the opportunity to get that healer. 49 throws a grenade, however. Will that give the damage that LHC needs to finally put an end to this game? That's something that we're gonna find out real soon, but unfortunately it does not. 49 doesn't give up, however. Grenades out, throws it in, doesn't give any damage against Club Leons. This is still a 2 versus 2, and it's been like how many minutes already?
Definitely, and with a 2v2 game right here, it really is just gonna be about the duo right here, just fighting it out. Kalpo will find one, goes for the spray. 49 makes it out alive with a very low health before he takes one down. It's gonna be Kalpo, the last member. Axams looking for a perfect angle just to gun them down. Manko will be going for some heals, and I think they're trying to bait him out. Maybe try to bait those shots, and maybe the second member could help them gun them down. But the grenade from Axams ready to throw, as now he is trying to run away from that. The damage goes in. 49 will still try to look for an angle to gun him down with the shotgun. Still, the shot's not connecting. Just behind, they're beating around a tree right here, and it's just gonna be it. It's just, I don't know. It's just really thrilling for these 2 teams because it really sets us up for the mood for today's match. And there we have it. Our winner in the chicken dinner. This is gonna be LHC.
Happens. So for those of you tuning into the stream, we'll be seeing you really soon.
What is up, everyone? We are now back into the games. We are your shoutcasters once again. I am Mike, and with me is Annie. Now, 4 games remaining for these 16 teams to secure their spots for the last 4 teams to compete for the South Asian Games. Now, Annie, tell me about it.
I mean, we saw LHC get that first winner chicken dinner in our first Erangel map. So I'm really excited to see how this second map will be doing, especially since this is gonna be Miramar, our first Miramar, in fact, for day number 2. That flight path is gonna start from El Pozo, going a bit straight towards the east side, ending up in El Azahar. So for the likes of Los Leones and everything else, towards the far south, it might not be as accessible as for the other teams. So they're gonna have to worry about that. And of course, for those teams that will be dropping off to the northern parts, it's gonna be really really accessible, especially Campo Militar. I'm sure there's a lot of good loot over there. So for the teams that want to vie for that area, that's something that they can really do. But looking at the where these teams are dropping off, it looks like a lot of people are gonna be favoring the southern part of this flight path.
And personally, I also would love to be situated in an off center area, so that way when we can see the circle, then it's gonna be a little bit easier for me to get inside it. I mean, you could be a great risk when you're gonna be faced with another enemies that are trying to get maybe around you, but for me that's just gonna be a risk I'm willing to take. And yeah, I mean, still we're gonna be going into the games right now, and everything is pretty chill. That's just gonna be it. And yeah, I mean, how about you, Annie?
I mean, yeah, it really is pretty chill, and that circle's very forgiving, especially with the flight path. But there's just a lot of people that preferred to drop towards the eastern side of the map, and so once again, this is still stage 1 of the circle, so they'll just have to loot the place up and then maybe secure those vehicles. It's definitely a little bit of a pressure, especially for the teams that dropped off a little bit far from the western part of the map, but still, that's something that we'll have to worry about later. Right now, it's NRS drops in on the same site as VETMZ, the current number 1 spot holder for this tournament. And so this is going to be really interesting, especially since this is the first few minutes of the game, and you'd expect there's a lot of teams that haven't had the best loot just yet. Everyone's still looting the place up. I don't think they have really good guns just yet, but it doesn't seem that anyone's going to be engaging soon. They're kind of playing it safe, but not for Admiral, however. Getting some shots in, but unfortunately, it's not going to result into any damage.
And for now, Rolex and the rest of the team just walked into it with enemies, and he has to be taken down. Syndicate Bogobi, however, will be reviving him. It was a very surprise for his side. But yeah, I mean, we're still back into the game. A game like Miramar, it's really gonna be a long game, so we can only expect the short skirmishes, short fights, and yep, that's just pretty much it. All of the action would be happening, like a minute 17 or maybe a 20th minute and so on. It's just gonna be that for now. They're still gonna be repositioning, looking for some places to loot, and yeah, just improving their gear.
Yeah, definitely. That's the plan for a lot of these teams. And so far, everyone's still in the game. We're still seeing 15 teams and 57 players, but JF, very good. They're looting this place up. They're looting this compound. I mean, they're still all alone over here, so there's no possibility that they'll run into another squad just yet. That goes the same with Familia Esports. So I think everyone's pretty spread out. So we're gonna be a little bit confident when we say that it's gonna be a little bit quiet for a few minutes. So we can just review the leaderboard, especially what happened yesterday. I mean, VETM7, they had a really good run and they have such good performances yesterday. I think they got eliminated quite early in the first map. Actually, the top 3 got eliminated quite early, but still, that was still the first map. We still have 4 matches to go, and I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen now, especially with LHC. I think they have information that JF is just about the corner, and Malco is gonna be scouting the area, trying to see if they can get some potential eliminations.
And yeah, with Manko 90 already aware of possible enemies, he could be looking to tear this place down and to hunt them down. But for now, it's just they're still gonna be waiting for some possible hunts. But it does look like Manko already got spotted. The grenade will be prepared to be thrown later on, and yeah, I mean he's still trying to time those grenades in the throwables, but before he tries to get in, and as soon as he gets in, then he's just gonna be greeted with bullets. However, teammates are behind him, so I guess he's pretty much confident in that one, especially that they're gonna be slowly storming this place in, and it's just gonna be a matter of time before a team will remain from that part.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to, especially LHC and JF. It looks like Jeff will be trying for those throwables, and actually, that grenade's going to arc really far, but unfortunately, that's not gonna hit anyone. And LHC, although they came into this building quite late, they still have a pretty good control over it. I mean, very good is the only one left inside of that building, and depending on how LHC plans to play their cards right, I mean, they're not initiating just yet. They're still taking position, and very good all the while trying their best to kind of stay quiet and not give away their location. And actually, I just noticed JF came into the game with only 3 players on their roster, so that's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage, especially LHC is still complete, but still, it's all about the execution, and that's something I'm looking forward to, especially if one of these squads, either LHC or JF, who will initiate this engagement.
And for now, still the rest of LHC are just probably looking for the right timing, and if I'm not mistaken, just to get inside that area because they don't want to be eliminated as early as in a few moments, just a few minutes. They don't want that, so of course they have to take some. We have to take their time right here, and I think what they're doing is they're just gonna be looking for another place to loot, and just not risk those points because they could be eliminated if they were to risk it. And yeah, I mean, looking at the other teams, they're still pretty much alive. VETM7 really intrigued on how they're gonna end after this game number 2, especially that they're currently the first place holder. Syndicate, on the other hand, with 67 points, they're gonna be following up with a 9-point gap. So they're also trying their best right here to get a lot of elimination points and those chicken dinner points as well to try to maybe get the number 1 down and maybe try to overthrow rather VETM7.
Yeah, that's the plan right now. But all the while, OPZ Esports, I think they've spotted NRS, and Moonsif will be going down by the hands of Sahube. That's just 1 knock, however. And the question now is, does OPZ know where the rest of NRS is? This is going to be a vehicle elimination. Yeah, definitely. Sahube finishes them off with a crushing victory, quite literally. But over here, we're seeing Winter from SDMZ Cyanide. I think they heard the ruckus, and they know that OPZs are just around the corner. But all the while, Teletubbies, they have their own story to tell alongside Leon's Esports. And unfortunately, there's this 1 player from Leon's getting surrounded. But there's also a revenge story developing. BBVIS96. His name, how do you even say it? But anyways, yeah, they need that revive. They got knocked down on the side of Teletubbies, but it's not over just yet. Leons, they're gonna try to push in, and Lucifer's taking a lot of damage by Minto with that SMG, and that's 2 down on the side of Teletubbies. All the while, Leon's quite doing well, but the question is now, will Leon's be able to wipe out TTS?
And yeah, there we have it. The circle's already getting smaller. The teams are still many, and they have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, with no choice but to just fight them down and be the last team standing for now. Still, they're gonna be taking a little bit of the time, especially that they can still get around the map with a little bit of that breathing room. So with that, they still have to. They can't really just risk just yet, especially there are 15 teams remaining. But Minto will be taken down, just needing that revive. On the other hand, Axams will be taking revenge as well. Lahut already finds 1, prepared to throw that grenade, hoping to get 1 down before he moves back, as to make sure that he won't get hit. But Kalpo getting hit with that grenade once again. Vitaly will also get a kill from the side of LHC Esports. Now hoping
it will be a confirmed kill. For now, Teletubbies Esports will be looking for another victim before they can finally commit through that area, especially that there are only 2 members remaining.
I mean, it's a pretty good location, considering the fact that Leon's kind of just inside of this warehouse. But I'm not sure if that those throwables are really gonna serve them. I mean, Bullet, they can go ahead and like revive Bullet instead, but I guess they're still trying to go for those elimination points. I mean, that's at 3 potential elimination points, and those grenades are just pressuring the side of I mean Leon's Esports rather, Club Leon's rather. It's Leon's Esports, but anyways, yeah, we're taking a look at Teletubbies. Lahut is not giving up. They want those elimination points, but it's too risky to give that push. All the while, we're taking a look at Lon's Esports as well as LHC Esports. I mean, they're within the vicinity. There's a lot of open fields, but I think both of these teams, they're still gathering information, throwing some throwables. Unfortunately, it's not gonna land on anyone. You're about to hit Lucidity. Come on, that was a friendly fire, but all the while, that's not friendly fire. I mean, Lucidity is actually from LHC. That's probably why. And with that, he got knocked down. Let's see what their fate's gonna be.
Definitely. For now, TTS Esports already being spotted with no choice but to fight them down, just trying to run around the vehicle, but they will be eliminated from the side of Club Leons, and that's just going to be a point. It was a really risky move for TTS Esports to try to fight them, but with only 2 members remaining, it was just unfortunate. They were just eliminated. Syndicate, on the other hand, also facing some casualties, and I think they're just being eliminated one by one. The confirmation kills trying to follow up as well. And with VETM7, they could be claiming their first team right here for this game. And it's just going to be a game of cat and mouse right here against the side of a Syndicate. Just to avoid them really at this point with VETM7 going in for the aggression.
Aggression. VTM7 needs those elimination points, but with Admiral needing that revive, yeah, they actually managed to revive them. But again, VTM7, they're gonna be going against the Syndicate. The Syndicate is pretty good also. I mean, we just take a look at that. 2 down on the side of VTMZ. With that, as the third Admiral is the last nail in the coffin, and with that, VTM7 gets knocked out of this map by the hands of Syndicate.
In a very surprising turn of events, Syndicate has managed to turn the tables. VTM7 being the team that's going to be eliminated. On the other hand, Lons would be facing a lot of these points, and TTS Esports would be going down once again. Lons claiming their lives and their team, and there's just going to be another team being eliminated as they head on to the last 3 games. But for now, it seems that we have started to see some movement and action already from game number 2 in Miramar. For now, the grenades being thrown out, hoping to get one down just near that vehicle, but they didn't spot them just yet. Mash with Sahube would be needing some backup right here with his fellow teammates, as La Familia could be going in later on. And I think one of them gets spotted. He gets gunned down, but it wasn't enough to take him down just yet.
OPZ. You're trying to see what is the best approach to go against La Familia. And La Familia, I mean, it's not a good look, especially when you get those throwables in the bag. 2 already down and 1 gunned down. So that's 3 people down on the side of La Familia Esports. All they have to do is kind of hunt down the last person standing on their side. That's Senzu! 3 versus 1. Senzu still manages to get away with their lives, but once Senzu gets shot down, gets knocked down, it's gonna be over for La Familia Esports. I mean, OPZ, 3 people at your doorstep. 3 versus 1, you stood no chance. And with that, La Familia Esports says goodbye for now.
Definitely, and with that, again, it really just sets into motion right here for Miramar, as now 11 teams remain. NRS versus JF right here, and the last member from the third party will have to move back. JAANUN FIDHAA, on the other hand, looking for a possible fight right here, especially that they have been spotted. They could also be very cautious to not get spotted, but so far that's just gonna be it. There seems, the plays for Miramar right here, the games could be happening at Monte Nuevo later on. But for now, they still have most of that area covered up, so they can really just seek for some cover and maybe just a little bit of a breathing room in order to fight all of the teams later on.
Yeah, and I really love how Lons Esports is performing right now. They have managed to back up six whole eliminations. And all the while, OPZ, yeah, that's right, OPZ, yes. They had a really good engagement a while ago, but of course, it's not over just yet. La Familia RIP finds a knock on their side. Syndicate's still alive, by the way, and they know OPZ is out there right at the corner. They probably heard those bullets a while ago. But over here, looking up once again, La Familia RIP. And I believe that's Leon's. Club Leon's. Cloaks getting that damage in. Takes down Axams. Gets them knocked down. Leon's actually, they're not in a good position right now. And Cloaks is just trying to seal the deal. And with that, that's one elimination on their side. The first one, in fact. And to think that La Familia RIP, they're only 3 players in. And that goes the same with JF as well. But Carlos is not doing just as well as La Familia RIP. And so with that, there's 2 players left on their side, on in JF's side. And they're surrounded by a lot of teams. There's also NRS towards the southern side of their position. And with that, actually, RIP and Leon's not over for them. But of course, we're still taking a look at the perspective of OPT versus JF. And so we're just gonna wait and see what either of these teams are gonna do later on.
Cyanide finds one. Winter will claim the kill, and I think they're gonna be very committed on storming that area. Blanky, on the other hand, would take Enzo down, and right here it's just gonna be a very hard one. But on the side of Cyanide, Shano will go down looking for some possible recovery. Blanky, on the other hand, already spots Earth, but will have to go for a grenade elimination right here. He just needs more time. Oh, the grenade still hits right on time, and he gets that kill. He just have to confirm that one, but he spots another member before .inc would be eliminated, and we are now down to the last 10 teams.
Nice. I love that execution going to the side of Blanky, just taking down .inc with, that strategy over there. Grenades coming in. It's gonna explode on the second floor of this house, but OPT, I think they'll be out of the woods. And yeah, no one really took that damage. JF, however, taking a lot of damage with just a slither of health left inside the shed. This is a 3 versus 1. Donna's still alive, however, 1 versus 1. And of course, Donna stood no chance against the rest of the members of OPT. And with that, JF will be saying goodbye on this Miramar map. We'll be seeing them on the 3rd map. But it's not over just yet. Koki actually took some damage, and Mipo needs that revive. And so, OPT, they're still in trouble. But I think they have a chance to reset after this.
Koki already being spotted and actually being wounded, so he has to move back and would try to reposition just to not get hit by the bullets. But right here, the circle will be updated in a few seconds already. Monte Nuevo could be looking for its next prey, as now that the circle has been revealed, and I think it's situated more on the southern part of the map, where actually almost all of the teams are kind of situated. I think from the side of OPT, I think they're outside the circle, and one more team as well. But here we have LHC gets their upgrades from their armory, as now that they have looted that supply crate, they really can go for possible chicken dinner right here. But yeah, I mean, for now, looking at it as well, Syndicate could be looking for its next team elimination as well, because they really need that in order to catch up to VETM7.
And something to look forward to. Syndicate, they have a chance to overtake. I definitely agree with that. They have a chance to overtake, especially if they get a lot of placement points and they get several other eliminations down the line. They're still alive, and that's all that matters, and they still have 3 players left standing. But all the while, we're looking at the other teams as well. I mean, they're all doing quite well. La Familia RIP, they're still alive. They're still hunting down other players for potential eliminations. Club Leon's as well, they're doing quite well. 4 eliminations, unfortunately. Calpo is all that's left, all that's still alive at this rate. And of course, La Familia RIPs is circling around Calpo, trying to see if they can find him. trying to find that last eliminations that they can give. But I'm gonna see. I wonder if Vecna will catch that. I mean, they give away their information. Capo is gonna be dealt with, and with that, Club Leons will be the top 9 team to say goodbye.
And yeah, they will be eliminated right here, still down to the last 8 teams with 26 players remaining as we now head on to the 20th minute. And I've called it a while ago. Usually the action happens during that part of the game. And yeah, I mean, for now, we could be looking for possible winners later on. That's going to be Syndicate or OPZ or maybe LHC. Who knows? 3v3, v2. The rest of the teams also have the chance with Lawns, Cyanide, RP, NRS, and OBT. But, they still need more points in order for them to catch up and be the part of the top 4 teams that will be moving to the South Asian tournament later on, I mean, soon. But of course, we're going to be back into the game again. They're going to be situated right here with a lot of these buildings. So this could be a slow burn later on, especially that they all have covers in each building. I mean, each building is a team. So that's just going to be it. Again, everyone has a fighting chance right here.
Yeah, I mean, the buildings are just gonna complicate things a little bit, especially during the late game. And you're gonna expect that there's gonna be some teams that will be kicked off of their position, especially once that circle closes in. But the question is, which of these teams are they gonna be? Who is gonna be forced out of their building and forced out to kind of go out into the open place? I mean, we're gonna be seeing that right now. It looks like RIP, Lawns, Syndicate, and OPT, they're gonna be safe for now, but everyone else will have to rotate eventually, especially since this is a stage 6 circle. LHC, they're getting into their car, rotating into the area, and with that, actually, Hyson is a pretty good spot over here. They have the high ground, they have a good look at Lawns, Esports trying to see if they can get some bullets in, and LHC is also on the other side of this vicinity. Gets spotted, lots of movements coming in, but of course NRS is still in the running. They get some knocks on their side, they get some eliminations as well, and so this is gonna be really fun. We still have 8 teams left standing.
Definitely, with 8 teams remaining, the guns have been sprayed, and we do see some bodies falling into the ground, just waiting for some recovery. And right here, with most of these teams pretty much alive, except who could be eliminated later on with RIP, the last member remaining. For now, NRS still pretty much alive with 3 members. 1 member is currently down. But OPT, all of them are pretty much alive. Syndicate as well with 3 members remaining. OPC with 3, but I think 1 is heavily wounded. So it could be needing some recovery later on. But for now, still, they're going to be provided with a lot of covers. So that's just going to be it. They have a lot of breathing room and fighting chance for this part of the game.
Yeah, they'll have to focus on survivability for now. But we're looking at OPT versus OPZ. There's advantage going into OPT, but OPZ has time and time again proven just how well they play this game. But right now the question is, how will they fare against OPZ, and with Syndicate also lurking around the corner? And with that's gonna be the question that's gonna be asked a lot. Who will come up victorious at this rate? Because it looks like, although they're still in the same area, it's only now that someone's gonna decide and try to get this engagement in, and OPZ is gonna storm into the building. La Familia RIP all of a sudden gets eliminated off, but it's not over just yet. OPZ storms into the building, tries to hunt down OPT. Up at the staircase, a spray's coming in. Lots of people going down on the side of OPT. That's 1 going down and 1 getting knocked down as well. 1T1 on the red. Paradox shooting left and right inside of this building. And with that, OPT gets eliminated off with a beautiful execution coming in from the side of OPZ.
Yeah, and there we have it, down to the last few teams remaining. And the circle also slowly closing in. So with nowhere to run, maybe it could situate right here in an open area. But despite being an open area, Miramar is known for its terrain, so they could still use it to their advantage to hide from enemies later on. But for now, Lawns is pretty much a bit separated with some of their members, so they could be probably facing a lot of that disadvantage later on. But safe to say they're all inside a circle, and I think there's still two more teams that are inside as well. So again, they have the chance to fight again, but of course, with the last six teams, it's gonna be looking grim later on. Syndicate will find one, and we'll just be looking for the confirmation kill.
Yeah, Syndicate is within the vicinity of Lawns Esports, and so whether or not they're gonna decide to take this engagement, that's something that they'll decide probably later on. Because right now we're looking at SDMC Cyanide, Shanu. They need to get revived, but I think their priorities lie on trying to get those eliminations. And they spot NRS at the distance. Winter with the grenades out. Will it connect? They're backing away because there's a lot of bullets coming into their direction, and I think some throwables as well. But it's not gonna hit Winter. Definitely, it's around the wrong side of the projectile, but. Winter is still alive. That's all that matters. LHC is also in the running. And they're being a menace towards Lawns Esports as well. I mean, Lawns Esports is just throwing throwables left and right against LHC as well as Cyanide. And Monko took so much damage in such a little amount of time. And that's one player left. One player down, rather, on the side of LHC Esports. But of course, it's not over just yet. There's still several teams left in the running, and Winter is taking a lot of damage. And, this is something really exciting. I really want to see who comes up victorious, but since there's still a lot of teams in the running, it's just a little bit confusing right now.
And with that, as we head on to the last few moments of this game, still six teams are pretty much alive with a very small map. They're gonna have no choice but to fight that later on. And I think they've been seeing each other, but for NRS, they're gonna be facing a disadvantage as they have been spotted outside of the houses. They have no cover except for those rocks. But Lawns, on the other hand, will take one down, will look for another kill, and probably even a confirmation one. But for now, Cyanide as well are pretty much out in the open, so I think that's gonna be NRS versus the Cyanide, while across that's gonna be Syndicate waiting to just weed them down and maybe weaken them as they can claim those skills later on.
What I find pretty weird is that there are still 6 teams left and 17 players standing, and we're already in stage 8 of the circle. It's incredible how these teams are just kind of like playing it really safely, but of course not gonna be like that forever, especially with Cyanide out in the open and NRS trying to take them down. Although Lawns Esports and Syndicate, they have pretty good positions. They have control over some buildings, and so with that they have a little bit of an advantage. But it's all gonna depend on whether or not the circle is gonna be favoring them later on. Because for now, it looks like Cyanide is in the worst position right now. They're out in the open, and I'm sure Lawns Esports and Syndicate and LHC, they have the information that they need. But Lawns Esports, I think they're looking at LHC. They threw that grenade, and with that is an elimination on their side. Now we're down to 5 teams. That's Syndicate, OPZ, Lawns Esports, Cyanide, and NRS.
And now we're heading on to it. Of course, with the last 5 teams, Syndicate and OPC are looking pretty good right here. They could, either of them could actually surpass VETM7 if their points are enough. They just need a few more kill points and that winner chicken dinner. On the other hand, NRS being spotted, and now I think they would have to move back or just stay inside this play zone and slowly just get to the center of it while not being spotted. But Cyanide Blanky goes in for the a desperate move to get inside the center before he gets spotted and he gets gunned down. NRS, on the other hand, would claim a kill, and it's just gonna be down to the last 4 teams: Lawns Esports, LNN, NRS, OPZ Esports, and Syndicate. Now down to the last 3, as Syndicate will finish them down. Rolex getting the grenade elimination on the side of NRS, and now it's just gonna be these last 3 teams.
I mean, it was to be expected since Cyanide and NRS pretty much had the worst positions amongst the last 5 teams. They were out in the open, they didn't have any control of the buildings. All the while, Lawns, Syndicate, and OPZ, they had they have control over the buildings and they have a lot of cover on their side. But since now everyone's in more or less the same field, everyone has control over the buildings. This is gonna be a little bit more interesting, especially since we're taking a look at these last 10 players, these last 3 teams. They're playing it really safe until now. Lons Esports throws a grenade, declares war against the Syndicate, and potentially gives away their position. And Syndicate, they're also throwing grenades against OPZ. It looks like OPZ will be going in for the aggressive. They're going up into the open. It's a bit of a risky move, but they have to do it because the circle's not favoring them. And without OPZ, I'm a little bit worried. I don't think they're gonna survive this, especially since Syndicate has the advantage at this point.
And they're gonna be facing against the Syndicate. And now that they're trying to take them down, Bogobe will take one, looking to finalize these kills right here. But Rolex getting spotted as well, just through the smoke. Rolex will go down, will be eliminated. Mash under their hand, would be needing some backup before he gets taken down as well. And I think it's just gonna be down to the last member of Syndicate, that's gonna be a Thakuru. As now he tries to run away, goes for a couple of heals before he gets taken down. And that's just gonna be a winner and a chicken dinner for the side of Lons Esports.
I love how Lons Esports pretty much executed that. They waited for OPZ and Syndicate to kind of take each other down. With that, Lons Esports swoops in and cleans up the mess, and they win that winner chicken dinner. That's crazy last few minutes of the game. And once again, that was map number 2 of our day number 2 of this national championships for Maldives. And so with that, we're going to be moving on to match number 3. But before that, we will be taking a short break. So those of you tuning in, don't go anywhere. We'll be seeing you in a few minutes. And welcome back to PMNC's Maldives 2025. We just witnessed map number 2 in our Miramar map, and it was quite exciting. There were some pretty exciting plays right there, and of course, that was just map number 2 for today. We'll be moving on to map number 3. That will be the third to the last chance of these wonderful teams to go and place themselves in the leaderboards. And once again, we are your casters. My name is Annie, and Mike is with me. Mike, what's up?
Thank you so much for that, Annie. And of course, we're now heading on to the game three. A quick map right here for Sanhok, just a breather for all of these teams. But of course, this is day number 2, the last day, the Judgment Day. And really, it's everything that's going to happen for Sanhok from here on out will set the motion for these for these first 4 teams that will be taking the first 4 places and will be moving on to South Asian regions. Now for the Sanhok game right here, it will be pretty much situated on the like a horizontal line, but a little bit above the center. So maybe in areas like Bantai or Camp Charlie, maybe they won't be accessible later, or maybe they are, but it's kind of risky if the circle doesn't favor in that side.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good flight path. Goes from Camp Alpha all the way to Camp Bravo, and Paradise Resort, one of the hottest drop-off points for Sanhok, is a very accessible, and we're seeing several teams vying for it. But I don't know if they want to take that risk, knowing that there's a lot of teams that want that area. But it looks like it'll be LHC that will be taking over Paradise Resort. As for everyone else, everyone is settling into their other drop-off points. They're gonna be looting a lot, but I'm not sure about towards the southern part of the map. Maybe we're gonna be seeing an early game engagement, since there are about 3 teams that landed around the same area. That's Lons Esports, OPT, and I believe that's Club Leon's as well. And whether or not we're gonna be seeing an engagement, that's something that we'll be finding out really soon.
Yeah, for now, I mean the teams are kind of just surrounding the whole map bootcamp. However, we'll have no teams occupying that area, but right here the circle has already been shown, and it's favoring on the upper part of the map with, I think, around 60% of that circle favoring the islands that would be hidden by these players, and maybe they can really just stay there. But for now, it's gonna be loot time for now. Stage 1 is just gonna be that they can't really just move around just yet. They have to loot, and especially in a small map, if they wanted to go to the circle as early as possible, then they could get spotted and they could be eliminated.
Yeah, that's definitely something that could be happening. Hold on, however, I think JF didn't enter the room. I mean the lobby, because we're down to 14 teams, and it looks like JF has been blocked off as well. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we're down to one. We're down 1 team. We have 14 teams on the run, and so far, I thought that there was gonna be an early game engagement. And since Sanhok's quite a small map, that's also one thing that you should really expect from a Sanhok map. But unfortunately, we're not seeing that just yet. But Club Leons, I think they have a plan in mind. They know OPTs are just around the corner, so maybe they'll be trying to get that engagement, but it doesn't seem that anyone's kind of initiating a fight just yet.
Not just yet. For now, 3 minutes into the game in this area. However, I think there are around 2 teams that are sharing this area, quite a big area. So maybe one of the teams can leave this place safely, or maybe they could go for a fight. Especially that I think they're pretty much aware at this point on which team is staying and how many teams are staying. But for now, they're gonna be prepared for a fight. And yeah, the rest of the teams still pretty much doing just looting. It's just the traditional way of PUBG, just gearing up, especially with the side of OPZ Esports. But for now, looking at the scoreboard, really is surprising that Syndicate have managed to take VTM7 down. 1 point behind them is just gonna be OPZ, and they could be taking that one later on. But yeah, it looks like Veteran would be taking grenade elimination, just waiting to confirm that one. And yeah, I think in game number 3, we're really starting to see some teams taking the places of others.
Yeah, and for now we finally see the first knock of the game, but Choti immediately gets up from that knockdown. So Club Leons versus OPT. These two teams are playing really safely. Calpo grenades out, not dealing damage that they need. But with that, OPT and Club Leons, none of them are backing down. They want those eliminations. Leon's repositioning is especially Axums. They're trying to see if they can get a control over this compound, and it's not looking good for Meepo, especially if Leon's kind of like does a pincher attack on their position, but Meepo's still out of the woods. They're still quite safe, and OPT they've gotten some damage done on their side, but still both of these teams not really making any moves until now. 1T1 gets some damage in against Axums. I think Calpo will be coming in to the rescue for that revive.
Definitely. For now, still back into the game. The action maybe could start later on, but the guns from veteran already being shot, and now Leon's shooty would be eliminated and looking for a possible elimination again. Gaxams would be hunted down. Meepo, on the other hand, still looking for another member, and I think that's Leon's Scalpo making a move for himself right here as he tries to help his teammates. Meepo will go down looking for a third member right here from their enemies as he tries to take them down one by one. But they're just gonna be running in a game of cat and mouse right here as he spots two of them down, gets one, but it's gonna be a trade. And that's just gonna be it. RGCoptika would be eliminated. Club Leons, on the other hand, would make this one out alive just without shooting.
Yeah, I mean that's still a pretty good trade-off, especially since they eliminated a whole squad. And with that, that's four eliminations on their side. Pretty good start for them. But on the other hand, for the other teams, still not much happening. And once again, this is Sanhok. I really expected, since this is such a small map, there would be a lot of early game engagements actually, and like a little bit more kills perhaps by this timestamp. I mean, we're 6 minutes in the game, but so far there's only one team wipeout. But of course, that just means that these teams, they're taking this quite seriously. They really want to kind of prove themselves in this game, and they really want to get into those leaderboards, get as much points as possible, and enhance their survivability and get those placement points. But for now, we're taking a look at these teams. They're taking positions. I'm sure they've already been finished with the looting phase, and now they're just waiting for that circle to kind of like give them some information, and then eventually like rotate into a better area if ever they're not favored by the game.
And definitely, as a circle will close it in less than 10 seconds, we could be prepared to fight right here, especially that the circle is really just getting around 70% of that map accessible. But now here we're closing in already at the top side center part of that map, and most of the teams are currently inside. But of course, this is a very small map, so they can really just see each other. So they could be a lot of those teams being eliminated later on. For now, the circle won't really hurt that much yet, so they still have their time. But they can't really just stay there forever. They have to move. And yeah, I mean, pretty much, they're all good unless they're gonna be encountering a different team that's gonna be taking them down.
And of course, we'll be finding that out really soon, because a lot of these teams, they're gonna have to rotate into the circle really soon, and we're gonna be moving on to the stage 2 of the circle. And of course, Minto is gonna be losing their lives, and with that, Leons is left with only 2 players left standing. That's Calpo and Axums. And they had a really good run, especially in their first engagement. But for now, they've been halved in the roster. And with that, La Familia is still lingering around in the vicinity. And of course, that blue zone is just putting a lot of pressure on both teams as well. And so they have to make a decision whether or not they'll go ahead and dip from this place and rotate into a safer area, or will they try for those eliminations, especially when they know La Familia is just right around the corner.
And yeah, definitely La Familia right around the corner could be taking them down. 4 members pretty much alive for their team, but TTS Esports as well. Pretty much is alive, but no one is just injured. the rest of the teams. Syndicate with also four members alive, one member is currently injured, but that's just gonna be it. VETM7 the same thing, but only two of them are pretty much healthy at this point. It's just gonna be a little bit, especially that these are the last three games. Then definitely we can see some potential teams that are gonna be taking them down, especially those at the fifth and sixth place that could be catching them up with a 7 point deficit. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Sanhok really is a breather game, but it is really critical as they could possibly lead to a very high. They could maybe get to the top four. But back into the game, Sahube already being taken down, just waiting to confirm that kill. And yeah, Sahube will be saying goodbye for now. The rest of the members, however, will be trying to avenge their teammates. TTS Esports, on the other hand, spots NRS trying to gun them down. Toxic will find one. On the side of TTS, it's gonna be Aku waiting to go for that recover. But now Shafu as well will be taken down. NRS could win this, especially that TTS has lost two members and a possible elimination for their team.
Mhm. There are two players from the side of TTS needs that revive and Cloud and Nape. Um, they're trying to rescue their team, but NRS is right around the corner. They have secured a position within the buildings right below. But of course, we're taking a look at LHC and La Familia Rip. There, I believe this is Paradise Resort. Yes, absolutely, this is Paradise Resort. But they're not making any moves just yet. They're not giving away their location. They're not initiating any engagements. They're just waiting for the right moment to strike. And that's pretty much this whole competition. Everyone just keeps on waiting and waiting. And everyone's just trying to play it safe. But speaking of safe, definitely not for TTS. There's a three players that needs that revive. Nape's all that's left. And with that, Shafu does get a revived, trying to get those guns out against NRS. Unfortunately, it doesn't really result into a knock just yet, but we spots another one towards the western side of their position. Eastern side, rather. I mean, northern side, rather. But look at here. Teletubbies ESP versus Lawns Esports versus VTM7 right around the vicinity. And Lucifer is not in a very good position. They're out there in the open. Lahut is trying to get some kills as well, but Lawns Esports all the while gets eliminated off.
And yeah, but while that was happening, Orpheus will find another kill with his Molotov. Manko 99 will also find one. The Cyanide could be looking for a possible team wipeout right here. And NRS will also find one. But looking live, Teletubbies Esports will find one, but trying to connect those shots. It won't result to a kill just yet. But really surprising, and in this late part of the game, only around four teams have been eliminated, and it still gives a lot of their breathing time right here, especially that they're gonna be storming the circle down, and they just waiting to maybe just waiting to shrink the circle even more, just for them to get to know each other and to fight them to the death. But yeah, for now, again, they're just taking their time, just staying inside the houses. That's just gonna be it. They have their covers, and they will not be making some desperate moves to go out and be revealed and be eliminated from the game.
Yeah, it's really not like these teams to kind of just make any risky moves. But when the situation calls for it and they definitely don't have any choice, just like La Familia right now, that's all that they can really do. LHC Esports, they have a pretty good spot. They have secured the buildings. But La Familia is a pretty good team as well. So let's see who will execute their plan really well. But all the while, NRS is still in the same spot. They're still out in the open. And Nape is trying to see if they can get that kill in the bag against Confi. And right now, it's all up to Moonsif and Confi to kind of carry NRS. They're the only ones left. There are only two left, and so far there are only two eliminations in. And taking a look at their standing here in the leaderboards, they're still number 10. So, for the good of their team, they should get a lot of elimination points as well as some placement points in order to catch up to those in the top four.
And yeah, as we move into the circle right here, then these teams have no choice but to really just fight. But looking at the side of Syndicate, they're kind of exposed right here, especially if they're on the bridge.
and just looking around them is Cyanide, VTM7 that are just near each other, OPZ as well that are currently safely hiding inside the houses. We have NRS and TTS Esports that are inside the circle. Those that are outside could be possibly be eliminated by these teams that are currently inside if they're not gonna be aware, and maybe they could be taken down. But for now, La Familia, the rest of the teams pretty much have this winning point. VTM7, however, could be looking for a possible, could be trying to take this back away from Syndicate, especially that they're currently 81 points, just needing more elimination points and a winner chicken dinner just to secure that one. But for now, we're still gonna be taking our time as we head on to stage number 5.
Stage number 5, and hopefully that makes it a little bit more interesting. That makes the game a little bit more interesting because so far, this is 15 minutes in the game, and we're still seeing 12 teams standing, and that's 35 players left for the taking. TTS Esports and NRS, they've been out in the open for so long, but still, both of these teams are still alive. But over here, OPZ, they've spotted some cars. They're just taking down those wheels just in case that there's someone within the vicinity, just so it's gonna be a little bit more useless to them. But of course, still, everyone is playing it safe. Nobody wants to go out and like take the risk of getting those getting pretty much their bullets into their heads. Right now, we're looking at the kill feed. NRS Confi finds one on the side of .INC. .INC, however, they're running around the vicinity, around the compound, making a lot of noise. And NRS, of course, they already secured this compound. They have a lot of control over it. But with just a grenade, a fourth of Minsif's health will be going down, but on the other hand, INC will be losing one player on their side. Confi is out of commission, so this is basically like a 2 versus 1 between NRS and INC.
Definitely, and for now, NRS with the last 2 members, they could be running away from this one. But here we have it. Ahu from INC would be taken down from the side of Syndicate. That's gonna be Nahi. Rip, on the other hand, would also be claiming a kill, just waiting to confirm this one. But Cloak will be saying goodbye as LHC will take him down. And now that the circle has been closed, then we have a new circle that's going to be from stage number 5. And yeah, the rest of these teams, you could possibly see a lot of these engagements already. Nice, on the other hand, could have spotted a member from Syndicate, but he didn't really go for the shot. He didn't recognize that one just yet. But Banco will be taken down. Calpo is up next as he will be needing some recovery. And now that would be it for him, especially that he got eliminated for now. Back into the game, Mad Boys 91 still also being eliminated. Still waiting for the confirmation kill. And for the side of Club Leons, we have here our last member.
I'm kind of curious as to what the VETM7 is up to because I haven't seen them on the screen, so that just means that they haven't really gotten involved into much engagements. But all the while, .INC does get eliminated off. We're down to 11 teams left standing. That's 25 players. But once again, pretty curious on how VTM7 is doing. I mean, they just secured that one compound and basically Nahil loses their lives right in front of us. That was a 2 versus 1. They stood no chance, but Aizen 99, let's see how they will do against LHC. Right around across the street. Of course, Lucidity managed to get revived. Aizen 99 getting those grenades in hand, all the while Club Leons gets wiped off the picture as well as another team. We're down to 9 teams actually, but still, after that, LHC, they have pretty good defense. They're pretty much just sidestepping all of these grenades, and that circle is gonna close in. And VTM7, they're close to getting kicked off. But speaking of kicked off, Familia RIP will be saying RIP for now.
And for that one, we have here another fight that's going to be happening. Is now we are nearing its final moments for Sanhok. The last Sanhok game for tonight and for this tournament. Now 7 teams remaining with 48 seconds remaining for them to look for their hiding spots. Viper in their hand would be taken down. Nabe would be next, but Botbro will be saying goodbye as well.
Shano still looking for possible kills right here as he tries to as he tries to go for peaks, but he could be spotted right here, and it could be too late if he got spotted. But yeah, I mean, the goal for VTM7 is to just make this one up alive and to get that chicken dinner, especially with 4 members currently alive. Syndicate, on the other hand, would just be aiming for that chicken dinner, especially that they got 2 members remaining. OPZ would be doing the same. TTS Esports could possibly be looking for a chicken dinner as well, and Cyanide. LF, on the other hand, La Familia and Teletubbies could be looking for its demise, but you know they can still disrupt the clashes of these teams. Orpheus, on the other hand, the
Ooh.
side of E Team 7 would be eliminated, but the shotgun to the face will eliminate La Familia Esports.
Finally, the game gets a little bit more interesting, and unlike the previous maps, where we saw the top 3 teams get eliminated early, we're seeing the top 3 teams go against each other alongside TTS and a Cyanide Esports. So this game just got a little bit more interesting. VTM7, they're still alive. That goes the same with Syndicate and OPZ. And OPZ, speaking of which, they did a lot of damage against VTM7. And a while ago, we saw VTM7. They were just holed up in the compound that they have control of, and they never gone out, but right now they're forced outside. One of their players gets eliminated off by the hands of Bot Bro, and with that we're down to 2 players left on the side of VTM7.
Definitely, and we're now with the last 5 teams remaining with a little bit of that exposure, and they would probably be eliminated. But for now, VTM7 with the last 2 members, Syndicate with its last 2 members as well, and OPZ. TTS could be possibly looking for a winner on a chicken dinner right here. Cyanide could be doing the same thing as well, but the rest of VTM7 are now very in an unfortunate spot as they are being forced to move into the circle. And he will find one, the shotgun trying to connect, but he goes down. Now up next is gonna be Botbro hunting them down. Shano, on the other hand, from Cyanide tries to get that kill, but he gets killed from a different angle. Botbro, on the other hand, is using the rock to his advantage, trying to take them down one by one.
Yeah, what's up? I mean, we're looking at Syndicate and TTS right now, down to these 2 teams. I wonder who will come up victorious between the 2. I mean, both of them, they're kind of playing it safe, and they're out in the open. There's a bridge involved as well. And Syndicate, TTS, no one's making a move just yet. No one's taking that risk. But Nahi, they actually have a building on their side, so that's going to be a bit of their advantage. But it looks like Bogobe will be trying to put those bullets in, but they'll be shot at instead. And with that, it's actually Syndicate that will be coming up victorious in this 3rd map, this Sanhok map. And after all that, that was our 3rd map. These teams will have 2 more chances left to prove themselves in this PMNC Maldives 2025. And of course, we'll be seeing that 4th chance later on. But before that, we will be taking a break. So we'll be seeing you guys in a few minutes.
What is up, everyone? We are now back into the games. Two more games remaining for this tournament, and there we have, of course, our teams battling it out once again. And here we will be introducing ourselves once again into the last Erangel game for tonight. Now, Annie, tell us what is up.
I mean, once again, you just said it. This is the fourth map for tonight, and of course, we're gonna be seeing our second Erangel map for this day. So that flight path is just gonna start in Stalber, all going all the way down south to Sosnovka military base. So for these players, I mean, school, Pochinki, perhaps even Milta power plant, and Sosnovka military base, of course. They're very much accessible, and there are a lot of hot drop off points that are quite accessible. Perhaps maybe not Georgia Pool in the hospital, but still, this flight was pretty generous towards our teams. And just taking a look at how these 15 teams worked out in the last few maps, we know that these teams are very they love playing it safe. So I'm just really curious on how this Erangel map is gonna go. I mean, this previous Sanhok map went by really slowly because nobody wanted to take the risk. So I'm really wondering how that will work out right now in this Erangel map.
And yeah, for that again, these teams are gonna be. I think this is gonna be their second to the last chance already to fight this, of course, and get to the top four places, and also be able to secure the first spot as well. Currently, we have Syndicate with 95 points, to be followed by BTM7 with 88 points. 85 points going for OPZ Esports and TTS Esports with 64.
And of course, Syndicate 95 points. It's quite a long way for VTM7 to catch up with them and finally got overtaken. So that's quite unfortunate for the side of VTM7, especially that they were so consistent yesterday. And I guess they just got overtaken today, especially if some of these teams did a VOD review on how the teams kind of played out yesterday, and they studied the strategies, they studied the way some of these teams move, they studied the drop off points as well. And so that's one thing that's possible. But of course, day number two, this is their second to the last chance to get those points, to get those eliminations, and to get those placements in the leaderboards. And so these teams, it's understandable that they really want to play it safe, especially for the teams that already secured a really good spot on the leaderboards. And all the while, those teams that are that haven't secured any spot in the top four just yet, I'm sure they want to work a little bit harder, especially over here. Lon's working hard to knock down one of these players. And with that, it's going quite well on their side.
And for now, as we try to also fight with the rest of these teams, Lons Esports could be facing probably a disadvantage if they get spotted by I think that's Teletubbies. And yeah, I mean for now they do share that they do share two buildings. So I guess I mean Lons Esports, knowing Lons Esports, they usually don't let their enemies go. They usually try to look for a possible opening and get those kills. But for now, Shafu finds one, goes for the spray, but will not finalize in the kill just yet. The grenade will be thrown to try to chip away that health before it explodes. Oh, no one will be hit just by just that. He will find one. The bullets coming in, trying to connect those shots, but it will not be hitting anyone just yet.
Yeah, and OPZ, they're trying to storm in onto this house, onto this compound. And Shafu's gonna be in trouble, especially if OPZ has them surrounded. 1 versus 1, Shafu immediately gets knocked down and eliminated in just a few seconds. But TTS coming to the rescue a little bit too late, but still OPZ and TTS, they'll have to have a engagement right here. And OPZ, they have quite a lot of control over this compound, and they have a better positioning, they have better positioning than TTS. But Aku is getting those sprays on, and of course OB is taking a lot of damage 1 versus 1, but unfortunately it'll be Aku. He's going down Nape trying to get that revive in. Walks into the fire. I'm not sure why he did just that, but yes, OPZ, they won this engagement, and of course, not over just yet. Teletubbies and I believe that was Lons Esports are still at it, but for now, Lucifer's just staying still and trying not to move.
Yeah, Lucifer with a shotgun, 5 bullets. Ooh, spots
Ooh.
one. The shot did not connect just yet. He will be hunted down, and we'll have to move back. On the other end, Lahote will try to scare them away with those warning shots. And yeah, the rest of Teletubbies Esports just, I think their best course of action right here is to really just fight them against all odds. Luzums finds one, but he falls down. Lahote with those clean shots will find him down. Will probably go for a possible wipeout right here. Lahote trying to also go for the engagement, but they will not commit just yet. I think they would probably look for another angle, maybe get one down before they can finalize their attack. But Najee, looking at here, just recovering his teammates. On the other hand, Lucifer will be taken down, and he will be eliminated, confirmed kill. And now Lahute being the last member, he could be taken down, especially that he is just against many players, and especially that they have managed to revive their teammate. Then he's just gonna be hunted in a 1v4 scenario.
And the question now is Lahute's decision correct? That walks into the building and immediately gets executed by all 4 players from Lons Esports. And with that, that's goodbye for that was Teletubbies. And of course, Lons Esports, they have the opportunity to go ahead and revive the rest of their members. And luckily, they walk away with their full roster. Everyone's kind of safe. Everyone has a second chance of living. With that, even OPZ Esports, after that engagement, they do have 4 eliminations in the bag. And now they're just kind of like rotating, trying to secure another location. And all is well, it ends well.
Definitely. And for now, still, in a map like Erangel, this is quite a long game with 7 minutes already into the game. Players, what I've noticed recently is that players are usually careful, especially if the games kind of drag out for a quite longer. So maybe players really are just really cautious at that point to try their best to reach to the top four. And yeah, I mean, they have to be very careful with their play, so we kind of understand some long games. And I think we could be seeing that one right here in Erangel, especially this is the last attempt on Erangel for this tournament. And I think they spot a lot of enemies, and they could probably go for some eliminations, but he will probably look for a better angle to gun them down. The shotgun is ready, just enemies waiting to get inside the crosshair, and that would be it. But for now, they're inside this warehouse, and I think he's just gonna be trying to fight this against 1v1 while his teammates are pretty much active. The grenade being prepared to be thrown at. Ooh, Bot Pro will find one down with a shotgun in hand. Still tries to eliminate him, but he finds one. Now, Terran, on the other hand, would also try to eliminate them, but Bot Pro being hit. Oh no, it's just a couple of it's really just out running away from these enemies. But they would end with RGCoptika being eliminated.
That was actually crazy. I mean, OPZ came into the warehouse with only 2 people in their team, and I believe OPT had all 4 players. But Botpro was very confident. Just comes in with their shotgun, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Eventually, actually wipes out OPT completely. But on the trade-off, Botpro was the only one left on the side of OPZ. I mean, their first engagement went by really well, even bagged 4 eliminations. But unfortunately, for now, for the rest of this map, it'll be Botbro that's gonna be walking around solo, and depending on what battles he chooses to fight, perhaps they'll be kind of going in for the placement points instead. But depending on the situation, maybe you can get some eliminations as well. And all the while for the other teams, especially SDMZ Cyanide, doesn't seem that they found another team just yet. And that goes the same with a lot of teams. It looks like OPZ is the only one that doesn't have 4 players still standing on their team. It's just Botbro all alone. But for everyone else, actually, their survivability is really good. Everyone is still alive in their teams, and so with that, it's gonna be a little bit more interesting later on.
Definitely. And for now, last 11 teams
alive in a span of 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Leon's Choti getting spotted down from afar. Takuru could be claiming this point right here. Nahi, on the other hand, would take one down from the side of BETM7. Nitro would be saying goodbye as well. I think Syndicate is just hunting them down one by one. And here with Club Leons with no choice but to just fight these enemies out in the open. They could be facing their early elimination. For now, still, they're pretty much out in the open. They could be spotted and they could be sniped by Syndicate. Still, with a little bit of that fighting chance, they could probably turn this one around. But yeah, I mean, currently, 11 teams up and running. Syndicate, pretty much healthy. OPZ with their last member, and VATM7 with their three members.
Yeah, VTM7, they're still in the running. They only lost Nitro so far, but speaking of lost, they lost the previous engagement, so not a good run for today. I mean, they did really well yesterday, but today, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm really hoping that they'll come through. But once again, this is their second to the last chance, so they only have the next map to kind of prove themselves, and maybe also later on. Orpheus, however, kicks someone out of the car, completely confirms Mad Boy from LHC, and is not over just yet. Spots La Familia from afar, gets a lot of damage in the bag, but unfortunately it did result into a knock. Orpheus, hanging on by a thread, manages to heal themselves up, but the question is, they already have their location spotted. They already have their locations given away. Will Orpheus stay safe in that building? That is the question I want to know.
Definitely, I'm interested to know the answer to that as well. But for now, we'll be looking for the side of other teams, especially Cyanide, or you could be looking to reposition and maybe look for other places to loot. But currently, they have the houses, they have the protection right here. Maybe they would stick to this one and not look for possible engagements, which could really risk their team's placement, especially that this is the second to the last game for this tournament, then they could really face a lot of those casualties later on. But for now, currently, I think one of the teams that could be vying for the winner chicken dinner is a Syndicate with four members still up and running. OPZ on the other hand could be a team that would probably try to disrupt the fights in the last moment if no one spots him. And VETM7 with three members, they could win this, especially if they manage to take one by one from the side of Syndicate. On the other hand, LHC could also be able to surpass TTS Esports, especially with a 6 point gap. They just need a few more kills and maybe a chicken dinner as well to add that to their team. And yeah, they could possibly they could possibly overthrow them and be part of the top four teams.
Yeah, this is a very volatile leaderboard. I mean, 97 to 93 to 89 in the top three. One good game, and either of these teams can really overtake the other and get that number one spot. And so it's kind of like scary, especially if your favorite team is kind of like up there already. But Viper, unfortunately, spotted by Thugs, and Thugs repositions, knowing that the other players and La Familia are probably spotted and got some information on their location. But Thugs manages to get away from that grenade damage. La Familia is still in that building. Not sure if they have information that Thugs kind of like bailed out of there. But of course, they're going to be running into another problem, and that would be another squad later on because NRS, LHC, they're within this compound as well. And so I think Lucidity has some idea they kind of want to throw that grenade against the other buildings, against the other squads, but of course that will be giving away their location as well. But you do what you have to do to get those eliminations.
Definitely. And for now, looking at this building, LHC versus NRS once again. I mean, we're really just closely looking at them. But knowing NRS, they would be very careful and they would probably not risk a fight. Especially in this early part of the game with 11 teams currently remaining. I'm pretty sure they would probably drag this one a little bit longer and maybe lure the LHC Esports outside of their houses. But of course, LHC Esports
They also don't want to be eliminated, so they're gonna stay there. On the other hand, back to the scoreboard once again, we have Lons could be has the chance to actually surpass TTS and Cyanide a little bit. Yeah, they have a chance, but only a little bit. The rest of the teams they could. Leon's also has that same chance, but the rest of the teams could be able to disrupt the fights later on if they can really do that and maybe stop those teams that are trying to get into the top four places. For now, we're still in the middle part of the game, so every team will probably try to drag this quite longer.
Yeah, I mean that's a plan because that survivability is just going to translate into placement points later on, and every point counts at this rate, especially when you're trying to climb up the leaderboard, especially for these teams that haven't had their foot planted firmly on the top four spot, at least top four spot actually. But over here, Botbro is still alive. I mean, they've been going solo for a while, and still they're kind of just roaming around, still alive, and it's great survivability, and hopefully they get a lot of placement points for their team. But on the other hand, we're looking at La Familia RIP right now. I mean, one of their team members is actually shooting some bullets. I think they spotted another team. That's actually La Familia by the distance. They're trying to see if they can get some long range kills. But over here, we're looking at LHC. I believe that's NRS at the distance, and that's also INC. And OPZ's bot bro walked into the Lions Den. I don't know if they knew that there were three different squads just circling around like a bunch of vultures on their side. But of course, La Familia RIP SM2 takes some damage, but they spot Leons from a distance. We're gonna see if they can connect some bullets. Calpo throwing some grenades as well. We're gonna see if they can get a slice of that cake, a slice of those elimination points. Of course, Cloaks coming in with the long range sniper guns. Get some damage in, but unfortunately, it's not enough. It's not enough damage to cause any eliminations.
Looking at the scoreboard right now, VETM7 could possibly take OPZ's spot, especially the only 4 points. The difference is 4 points. They could really do that, and maybe try to catch back to Syndicate and take the number one place back into their hands once again. But currently, the ATM 7 are just playing a little bit careful. Morpheus will go and drive and trying to eliminate this team as well with a vehicle elimination to follow that up. And that's just gonna be it. They would be claiming another lives looking for the last member. And this is gonna be Haisham from Cyanide running away as well and maybe trying to help their team. But for now, back into other teams as well. Club Leons.
What?
What just happened? They're gonna be falling down. However, one member will be needing some heals and revive because right now they're pretty much out in the open. Lons Esports, on the other hand, will be seeking some support.
I love this circle right here. It's closing into half a lot of buildings and half open fields. So what's going to be interesting is how that circle is going to close in the next stage, if ever there is a next stage. And of course, there's some teams that will have to be forced to rotate into the area, especially Syndicate, especially VTM7, and another team towards the southwestern side of that circle. But for now, everyone inside of this compound, I mean, they're just going at it. And Club Leons all the while does lose their place in this map. And if you look at the mini map, actually, there's a lot of colors kind of like swimming around .inc towards the eastern side of this perspective, and NRS towards the western side. They've secured their particular buildings. I mean, NRS has a little bit more control over the compound. They have a lot of buildings onto their control, but still, .inc, depending on how they play their cards, they might be a force to reckon with for NRS. But all the while, La Familia Esports throws a Molotov towards where Syndicate is. And of course, that floor is gonna be burning hot. And Nahi will be eliminated off by the hands of Nahil thanks to that Molotov.
Definitely, what a very it was a sight to see for me. That place was really just burning, and it could possibly lead to a few kills. But for now, everyone will be safe.
just healing themselves up and would probably require some revives as well from different team members. But for now, Cloak from RIP would be going down, eliminated by Eddie. Or Fuse, on the other hand, would get a Molotov kill and would probably be claiming that elimination to their team. And for now, VETM7, it's really looking good for them. Currently, one more point to catch up against OPZ Esports. Familia just throwing the grenades, hoping to get one down. And Zenzo finally lands one, gets a kill, and will probably be able to confirm that later on. A few shots from Aiza99, trying also not get spotted. Actually gets him those shots, but it will not be enough to take one down just yet.
Not yet, just yet, but hopefully that's gonna change really soon. But for now, we're looking at the circle. We're looking at the drone shot of where La Familia Esports is, as well as Syndicate at the southern part. And of course, Lons Esports is actually towards the north of this compound as well. And so this is gonna be a little bit interesting. But for now, since the circle isn't really putting pressure onto these teams, perhaps they're not gonna make a move on just yet, but we're seeing a lot of grenades flying in. That's actually from LHC Esports. I think they're trying to lure out NRS, trying to see if they can get us some damage in. I mean, NRS is just hiding behind these buildings, trying to get those placement points, but LHC is trying to rule them out. They want those elimination points, and it looks like there's one person on the side of NRS that wants to die, but Monko, on the other hand, almost like just a sliver of health left, but they managed to stay alive. They managed to get themselves healed up, and they live to see another day.
And for now, back into the game once again. Syndicate laying low and with of course 97 points to their team.
Oh
They're just trying their
no.
best not to get spotted, but Lucidity will find one that's gonna be chippy down. Toxic on the other hand, also shooting his bullets, connecting those shots, taking Wanko 90 down, and would probably be seeking some cover before looking for possible eliminations once again. That's just gonna be it, especially in an area where there are a lot of buildings. You can't really expect a fast end for this game, because especially these teams as well, they want to survive, so they're gonna try to drag this one a little bit longer and will not be aiming for those kills for now. Jinwoo would be eliminated, just waiting to confirm that kill.
Yeah, and I believe there will be a lot more eliminations later on, and INC is getting really pressured by the side of NRS. I mean, the tables have turned, grenades going on to the side of .inc instead of NRS, but all the while NRS, they did lose a one player on their side. Anyways, this player with a really complicated name. I mean, they took some damage, but it's not gonna be enough for a knockdown. But all the while, NRS over here, of course, they have a pretty good positioning. Some on the roof and some on the ground floor, ready to go and storm in once they get enough information. But of course, .inc, they have really good survivability. So far, there's still 4 teams, but I think that's gonna change really soon, because Jinwoo and another player, that's Mythzal, they just kind of like showed up as an elimination on the kill feed just now. And of course, now we're down to .inc with only 2 players. I think it's about to be 1 player too, with 1 player about to lose their lives.
Definitely. And for now, with the 9 teams remaining, I think that's gonna stay not with 9 teams remaining after a few minutes, because there are really a lot of houses, so we can't really expect a lot of engagements later on, since they're not gonna be forced just yet. Maybe they will be forced to fight it later on when the circle really is situated at the roads. Probably in that moment, and they're gonna have to face each other. But for now, La Familia Esports is taking their time, especially that VETM7 is just near them. They could be spotted, but I think we have some eliminations coming in as well. Earth being eliminated, waiting to confirm that one as well. And now we're down to the last, still 9 teams, as Roland said a while ago, that after a few minutes, it's just going to be that they're going to be prolonging this one. .inc, on the other hand, would be kicking the bucket for now, and yeah, they're going to be taking the 9th place.
Yep, and we're down to 8 teams, 21 players left standing. And of course, the fact that these buildings are within the circle is just gonna drag this game out even more. But looking at the position of Syndicate, I think they're trying to go on to the aggressive side. And La Familia Esports, they're kind of like next to the building. And so whether or not Syndicate will be trying to get this kill in. I mean, like, speaking of kill, TM7 Eddie will be losing their lives 1 versus 1 within this corridor. Senzu goes on the red, needs that revive, and I don't know if that's gonna be a confirmation later on, but we're looking at Bogobe spots someone from another building, tries to get that long range kills, repositions, knows that they gave away their information, but VTM7, I mean, those on the red, that's just eliminations waiting to get claimed, and Bogobe wants some of those points in the bag. I mean, Syndicate, they're only 2 points in now, but if they keep themselves alive later on, perhaps they'll get some placement points as well. But of course, it wouldn't it wouldn't hurt to get a lot of elimination points. Molotov in! LHC gets forced out into the field, takes a lot of damage, but unfortunately, Bogobe doesn't secure that kill for themselves.
Yeah, for now, the grenade will be coming in from the side of Syndicate. Bogobe trying to spot one with a game of RNG, will not find that kill just yet. But with Lons, Najee could be throwing his own grenade as well, hoping to get the Rifa down, but the grenade will not enter the building. On the other hand, NRS Toxic and the rest of the teammates right here are just near the road, so they're pretty much safe unless the circle would not favor them. And again, I mean, it's just a game of patience right here, especially to us casters that will be watching the games, because we can't really know which team will win it for now, especially that everyone has their own place to hide it.
I mean, if you make the risky move right here in this compound, you're just giving away your information to 7 other squads, 7 other teams, and so no one wants to make that risk. I mean, I don't even want to make that risk. So if I were them, I'd play like the patient game, kind of wait everyone out, and of course that circle's gonna force at least some of these teams to get a move on, because I mean, look at this situation right here. This circle is just favoring all these buildings, but actually that grenade just hits just right. Toxic from NRS takes a lot of damage. Wow, that grenade! That grenade kill was amazing, but unfortunately that just means Toxic from NRS will be losing their lives, and now we're down to 19 players left standing.
Definitely, and with the 19 players remaining, we could be possibly be seeing a 30-minute game right here. If by the looks of it, we could possibly see a 30-minute game. And yeah, the grenade will go in, spots LHC 49 down, but we'll have to move back. The damage will not be enough. NRS Criminal will find one, however, so they could be possibly be looking for commitment to that engagement later on. But that's just gonna be it. They're gonna be slowly moving towards the center, especially the circle is slowly getting smaller as well. But Lons, one member, will be going down. Grenade from TM7 could also try to look for possible targets as well. But I think they would be going in for a move right here, especially that they sense that Lons is getting inside the house. Goes for the shots. He goes down. They're gonna be claiming that kill. Now down to the last 18 players remaining, and Eddie will be claiming Bogobe from the side of Syndicate as well.
Yeah, those were footsteps being heard, and Lons Esports was just punished for that. But VTM7, it's not over for them just yet. It looks like they have a pretty good luck in this game, because their building is actually being favored by the circle right now, and actually one player from Lons, that would be Luzons. I mean, they're pretty much free to be claimed by VTM7. That's one free elimination, and that's exactly what they did. And of course, SDMZ Cyanide, they're not in a very good position right now. I mean, I'm talking about Haysam hiding behind the haystack while everyone else hides behind the buildings. And speaking of buildings, La Familia, RIPs, SM2 will be fighting against Syndicate in this corridor. This is a 1 versus 1, but everyone's just kind of sidestepping each other's bullets. But of course, they're not gonna be safe for long. Look at that, as Cyanide Syndicate storms in, wipes away La Familia RIP from the map, and with that, Syndicate bags another elimination rather. Now they're up by 5 eliminations.
Mhm. Now less than 30 seconds remaining. We could be reaching to the 30th minute game already right here. This is the second to the last game. Syndicate and VTM7 just trying their best to get the number one spot. However, on the side of Syndicate, Bogobe will find one with a grenade elimination and will probably be waiting to confirm that one. For now, they will be taking their time again. They have their buildings, they have their cover. They're just going to be waiting on that one. And yeah, BETM7, a grenade could be prepared later on and be thrown to the side of the Syndicate. Will not find anyone just yet, but the side of Cyanide, a grenade elimination would be taking place.
This is Sisyphus level suffering. Imagine that, pushing a boulder up a hill. This is what these players are doing because they're just dragging out their misery. But of course, one after the other, there are players going down left and right now that the circle is forcing them to move. This is stage 9 circle, ladies and gentlemen. And have you seen an Erangel map go in to the 30-minute mark? I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's not impossible, but still, it's actually kind of crazy. Takaru is getting executed right in front of everyone. With that, Syndicate falls as the top 4 team, and La Familia follows as the top 3. Now this is between VTM7 and LHC Esports. 2 versus 1. That circle is just not favoring Orpheus, and with that, Orpheus goes down, and LHC bags that victory.
Definitely, LHC Esports would be looking for their victory right here in the second to the last game. And of course, that was Erangel. I'm just really shocked that we reached 30 minutes into that game. But of course, that was actually second to the last game, and we will be heading on to Miramar with we would be witnessing its conclusion already. And of course, you're your shoutcasters once again. I am Moik, and with me is Annie, and we'll be taking a short break and we'll be seeing you in a very, very wild conclusion later on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last leg for this PMNC Maldives 2025. This is going to be our last map for tonight, the last chance for these 15 teams to prove themselves on the battlefield. Once again, these are your casters. My name is Annie and Mike is with me. Mike, what do you think about this competition so far?
Well, thank you so much for that, Annie. Of course, I'm really as excited as you are, especially to find out which team will win this tournament, especially the four teams that will be moving on to the South Asian tournament as well. Of course, while this is happening, we also have to thank our sponsors once again. Thank you so much for PNC Maldives, Maldives especially. This tournament really gave us a lot of these opportunities for the teams to show their potentials, and of course with E2S Gaming as well, one of our a very helpful team as well to organize this wonderful event. And with that, we are now witnessing the conclusion for this tournament. And Annie, I mean, for you, which team is gonna get it? I mean, for me, I'm gonna vote for VETM7. I think they're currently holding the second place, but they could pull this 360, possibly taking that one. How about you, Annie?
I really wonder. I don't know what's happening to VTM7. I'm not that confident that they can catch up at this rate. I mean, they did really well yesterday, but for now, it's just not as consistent today. But I don't really have a very solid bets, but I think I'm gonna go with Syndicate for my prediction. And of course, I'm never really right in these things, but I mean, Syndicate is a pretty good squad. So you know what, I'm gonna put my faith in them. But of course, we're taking a look at our first circle. That's about maybe 25% water, and so there's not solid land for these squads kind of work with. But since this is still a stage one circle, they can still go ahead and loot about all over the Miramar map. And so with that, they're just gonna go do their business, secure some of those vehicles as well, and then rotate later on.
And definitely with the last game for tonight, we have the potential for teams that could be completing this roster. We have Syndicate, VETM7, OPZ, and LHC, which we haven't really seen LHC pop off yesterday. It's only now that they really got those points and really got them to this place, and they really deserve that. So for now, Miramar, also a lengthy game. We could probably expect, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, especially if the last circle is gonna be situated in a place where there are just a lot of buildings.
I hope that it will not reach 40 minutes, but it is quite possible, especially for Miramar. I mean, that Erangel map reached 30 minutes, so who's to say it's not possible for Miramar? I mean, this map drags on longer than Erangel, and there's a lot of open fields, there's a lot of high-rise buildings, high-rise landscapes as well, and so it's quite possible. But right now, we're taking a look at how these teams are going about. Actually, wait a minute. 12 teams. I don't think anyone really got eliminated yet, so I think there are several teams that didn't join the lobby. So that's quite unfortunate, especially for TTS. They're actually ranked quite high up and they didn't enter the scene. So that's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. This is our last map, and hopefully the best team will win and secure their spot in at least fourth place. We're going to be finding out which of these teams will be moving on to the next part of this competition. So I'm really excited, and I'm sure the fans are excited as well.
Definitely. And for now, especially 4 minutes into the game, and I think those teams are just called goods. I mean, for me personally, I can't really do much as well if I'm in those places. But I'm kind of a contrarian person, so usually if I'm the last person, I mean, if I can't win it, I don't want to let them have it as well. So I could be that nuisance to these teams that would be vying for the first
That's
place, the second
horrible.
place. I'm evil like that, but it's all fun and games at the end of the day. Unless there's really prize involved, so it's kind of a competition already. But back into the game already, we have seen some action. We have witnessed these actions coming into play,
And yeah, we do see for one member from Leon's getting down would probably be looking for a possible elimination point for their team. But yeah, for now, La Familia Esports trying to fight this one as well.
Whether or not they're looking for eliminations or just trying to be a menace, I'm all for it as long as some of these teams get eliminated early on. Speaking of elimination, it looks like Paradox will be seeing another day. I mean, they got knocked down, but not completely eliminated. Speaking of which, Senzu chops them down. Two players from Leon's Esports, but on the other hand, they will be going down. That was a 2 versus 1, so it's not much of a good it's not much good on their side. But La Familia Esports, Aizen 99, they bagged one victory, and it's not looking good for Club Leons right now. I mean, Axams needs that revive. Choti's the only one left standing. I mean, now that Axam's been revived, I guess they're true now, but still against La Familia, I don't know who's gonna win. It's gonna be a 1 versus 1 behind this wall. Choti trying to see if they can get some bullets in, and it'll be Choti that'll be losing that. But on the other hand, Club Leons has backup. Let's see who will win this 1 versus 1, and it's still actually La Familia Esports wipes out Club Leons from this final map.
And with that, as we start this game, quite a surprise in a map like Miramar. Usually it takes quite long, but now 11 teams remain. So we could probably see a lengthy game otherwise, despite that, because these few teams, imagine them in a bigger part of the circle later on. So it would really still require a smaller circle for them to force them to fight, especially in a circle where it's just gonna be a terrain. It's gonna be like that if they're gonna be looking for a fast end. But for now, Jinwoo from INC already being downed as well would be needing some recovery, while they're gonna be looking for the confirmation kill.
Jinwoo from solo leveling. I'm just kidding. But yes,
I think it is.
the next circle is gonna close in towards the eastern side. Still a lot of water. And so that's just gonna pressure the rest of the teams, the rest of the 11 teams that are still standing. So that's really going great, especially for those viewers that really want to see some action coming in. But of course, Jinwoo unfortunately did not get revived. That solo leveling is not leveling up, needs that revive. But all the while, everyone else in their team is kind of a little bit busy, especially with OPZ Esports trying to storm and trying to get those eliminations in the bag. So far, they have 2. Will they get a third? That's the question. But for now, Botbro doing quite well. They do have one mission already, trying to hunt down the rest of the members of OPZ. And we can see one climbing up the hill, actually. And Jinwoo over there... Actually, Jinwoo over there is... I don't know. They were probably hiding really well because there's no way that they survived that. But that circle is probably gonna eat them up, and then eventually... Yep, Jinwoo really did kind of like go 6 feet under.
Yeah, definitely, and would probably be not arising.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be fun and games right here, guys. While the players are fighting for their lives as they try to get the prizes from here. But yeah, I mean, so far it's not gonna look good for INC. How their member Jinwoo is gonna be down. And yeah, I mean, for now, the circle has already taken a huge chunk of it, and now situated on the southwestern part of that map. And I guess for now, these teams that will be playing this one a little bit maybe recklessly, if I'm not wrong, because it's still stage 2. You can't really just die from a blue zone. So yeah, I mean, you can take your time and you go for, use their vehicles to roam around. But once you're gonna be hunted, then once you're gonna be hunted, then it's just gonna be very unfortunate for you.
It should be hunted once minumulto ka na. But we're taking a look at Sahube from OPZ Esports. I think they spotted OPT from a distance, but they're gonna go for that chase. They need that vehicle because they're quite far off as well. But whether or not that'll be an elimination on the side of OPZ Esports, that's left yet to be seen. But all the wild cloaks from La Familia rip. I think they're gonna be spotting NRS. I don't know if they have the information that they're there, but yep, they definitely see those bodies moving around this building. Cloak, however, is seeing themselves in a 3 versus 1. I don't know how this is gonna end up, but Cloak's not having a very good time. But Criminal does go down by the hands of Cloak. But on the other hand, that revenge kill coming in from another member of NRS, just doing its job really well. But Vecna comes to the rescue. 1 versus 1, and it's NRS that will be losing that. But Toxic tries to come in, but unfortunately it's Vecna who will be clutching that victory for La Familia Rip.
Definitely. And now, Rip would still be alive with 2 members remaining. They would be seeing Rip though, their enemies that they just took down. And yeah, they will get to live another day, another moment. While I think the teams right here with OPT, INC, Cyanide, they would be trying to take them down. But ooh, look at it! Look at this one. Bogobe tries to get those points, goes for the sprays, the shots trying to connect, but we will not find an elimination just yet. And back to my point, I think the teams right here with OPT, INC, Cyanide, maybe Lance as well, they could be the contrarians right here and just being a nuisance to these teams that are trying to get the fourth place. And speaking of the 4 places, look at the 4th placer with Club Leons. Currently, actually, this is not the final points yet. So, I mean, we would be seeing that later on. But for now, looking at the map once again, we could be nearing it's another smaller map that will be revealed later on. But looking at the teams, they're pretty much near to each other already, just a little bit more, and we would see some fights.
Yeah, I hope to see some fights later on because we're still down to 10 teams and 34 players left standing. I mean, once again, this is Miramar, so that's to be expected, but still. Come on, 11 minutes in. We're still 10 teams. That's actually just 2 teams eliminated from the starting point. But right now, OPT out in the open. That goes the same with Bogabe from Syndicate as well. And so that's something to look out for. Both have their vehicles. 1T1 secures the building, and so we're just kind of waiting to see if someone's gonna initiate an engagement. But for now, we're taking a look at Lawns Esports as well. I mean, I don't think there's a squad nearby, so they're kind of just securing this building for themselves. They're having quite a good time, but eventually, once this circle closes in, this circle goes to stage number 4, and maybe the stages later on, they're just gonna force each other to kind of face each other later on.
Yeah, for now, 10 teams still remain with almost heading on to the 13th minute mark. Nothing will happen just yet. They're just gonna be and just buying their time. And yeah, I mean, Syndicate still pretty much holding this one out, though they don't have eliminations for this game. The rest of the teams, however, OPZ Esports, still the rest of them are looking for some places to stay and maybe trying to predict as well wherever the next circle will appear. But yeah, look at the kill feed right now. RIP finds a few of those kills, just waiting to confirm those ones. And yeah, Botborough would be eliminated as well. And again, just waiting to confirm that one. OPZ could possibly be looking at the disadvantage right here.
Yeah, and OPZ, once again, some of the top teams in this in this competition so far. So, lots of people are rooting for them, but of course, we're just kind of waiting for something to happen. There were a lot of bullets coming in from all directions, but still nothing is popping up in the kill feed. But for now, Aizen trying to get those shots in, but gets shot instead. But they managed to pull back just in time to save their lives, and so they have the opportunity to kind of heal themselves up, rather. But then they gave away their location, so I'm not sure how they'll fare after that, but definitely no one's dying just yet because once again, kill feed, nothing popping up, and still quiet, and it's already 14 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and for now, as we head on, of course, to the 15th minute mark, the circle would be closing in with no choice but for the teams right here to just face them. And especially 10 teams still remain. There could be a lot of action heading onto it. The grenades being thrown out, hoping one will stick to a body and would
probably be going for an elimination, but they will not find that just yet. However, from side of Cyanide, they do have one elimination with a sniper, and confirming that one, that would be Winter. They were another point going to the side of Cyanide.
Cyanide having another point. Actually, just one, and that's Winter's point as well. And Blanky, they lost their lives quite early on into the game, and now they're down to a 3-man team. But that's still quite a lot, especially if you compare them to La Familia, who's only 1, INC with only 0. But Haisam's not having a good time. He gets spotted by VTM7, and VTM7 secures that one win. Eddie, however, needs that revive, but in the end, VTM7 secures a 3 eliminations, manages to yep, that's a wipeout for the side of .inc. I believe VTM7 has to hunt down one last player to really wipe off a squad. But on the other hand, we're looking at Syndicate as well. Fortunately, did not have any points just yet, but that might change really soon, especially once the most exciting part of this map is gonna come true.
And with that in mind, we have here a circle already slowly shrinking once again. With still 9 teams currently alive. Oop, Winter gets spotted by a bullet right there, but he will not be taken down that easily just yet. We'll have to look for that hunter and perpetrator right here before they can take them down. But for now, again, these teams once again with the Syndicate, they pretty much have that fighting chance. And yeah, I mean, definitely they could be looking for a possible win right here if Syndicate could play their cards right. Looking at other teams, we have La Familia racking those points up and trying their best to reach the 4th place. They're just going to be doing that, and really, best of luck to them, really, at this point. For now, Syndicate just buying their time and will not, probably be playing safely to try their best to get a lot of those points and maybe remain at the top 1.
Truly, truly the best of luck, especially since we're seeing the same strategy coming in from these teams in this competition. Always playing safe, always hiding behind the buildings, always not initiating any of these fights. No aggression, not one of these teams are like that. But Karu spots OPT, tries to get those shots, and unfortunately it won't come into fruition into an elimination. But Syndicate, they come and file in. They have the open ground, and it's not that great of a location, especially if you compare them with OPT, who has control over the buildings. But still, they manage to come through with it. They have their crosshairs out, trying to see if they can find any potential kills. They're quite confident with their positioning. They're quite spread out. They have like a wide range of horizon to try to kind of see if there's anything moving at the distance, especially if there's gonna be a car trying to come in and rotate into the area. But unfortunately, it's not gonna be like that for long, as the circle is gonna close in into the stage 5 in a few seconds as well.
And for now, still Syndicate, the last 9 teams up and running. We would probably be witnessing quite of a longer game. Maybe would end at around 27 minutes. I mean, compare that one with Erangel. Previously, it was around 30 minutes. I think we're gonna be heading on to a little bit shorter than that, especially that the circle is situated in a place where they can only use the terrain to their advantage. But yeah, Syndicate, they're just taking their time. They're gonna be playing it safely right here again, just to get those points whenever they can, and then just aim for the winner on the chicken dinner, just to widen the gap against VETM7. But you know, VETM7 is also currently alive, so they could be taking the number 1 spot away from them. OPZ as well. It's just gonna be, I think this is gonna be the 3 teams that will be battling it out. But yeah, while the game is happening, Syndicate, 1 member will be taken down, and you know, another point will go to their team. And right here, we have here RGCoptika going. Actually, I ran out of words. I was speechless. He was just raided by that member, and I think they would be eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, speechless. That's absolutely right. They took the words out of my mouth, but OPT over here, they're down 2 players, SDMZ, Cyanide, all the while. Actually, saw them a while ago. there were two players that got disconnected. I don't know if they died. I mean, that is such a strong word. I don't know if they got eliminated like down the line and just disconnected later on, but definitely kind of a sad ending for that team, especially since they had some pretty good runs. But over here, we're seeing OPT, the last two players standing. They're gonna be stormed in by Syndicate depending on how they want to play this strategy. But Syndicate definitely outnumbers them. Meepo is stuck in this building. Koki is outside, giving some information perhaps to their team member inside. That'll be Meepo, but whether or not Syndicate will be making their move. That's right now. Meepo makes a good decision.
Firstly-
Unfortunately, there was backup. And with that, Meepo gets knocked down. And all the while, Syndicate, all they have to do is hunt down Koki. And Koki gave away their location. Syndicate, they know what to do now. They know what to do. They will chase Koki down to the ends of the earth. And with that, La Familia actually joins in the fray. And still, it's Syndicate that eliminates them, and with that, we're down to 7 teams.
Down to the last 7 teams right here, heading on to the 21st minute of the game. Of the last game, actually, didn't really fully realize that we are now heading on to the last few minutes of this tournament before we can finally declare our champions. But yeah, for now, Syndicate holding the current spot for this game with 4 points, together with La Familia. And here we have VETM7 as well with 3 elimination points. And, personally speaking, I mean, VETM7 should be getting more kill points. I think they're going to be doing that later during the last minutes of the game. But for now, the circle is still quite big. They can still walk around this area. So, I mean, there's also the terrain. So it's really just high ground versus low ground right here. But with a whopping 7 teams, you also don't know because you could be sniped from anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be sniped anywhere. You have to watch your back, especially since there's still 7 teams left in the running. And some of these teams are some teams that you really have to look out for rather. I mean, Syndicate is still in the running, VTM7 as well, OPZ, and so far La Familia is doing quite well as well. La Familia RIP with 3 eliminations, basically competing against the likes of VTM7 OPZ in terms of the number of eliminations. But of course, this is gonna be really exciting since there's a lot of open field within the circle, so they're not gonna be hiding behind the buildings just like in the previous Erangel map. So crossing my fingers, lots of things gonna happen. La Familia Esports all the while. They did so well. In fact, they have 5 eliminations, the most out of any squad so far in this game. They're gonna be saying goodbye, and now it's just up to these last 6 teams for now.
Definitely. And with that in mind, 6 teams remaining. Mad Boys will be taken down as well, and possibly be waiting for that confirmation kill. And definitely, I mean, for now, these remaining teams are pretty much alive, just doing their best right here. 49 from LHC will get those shots in, connecting those shots once again, and they're just trying their best to hold this one out as much as they can. And again, the circle will be shrinking even more, and it's just really up to the circle to end this game. VTM7 Rifa would be taken down, waiting to confirm that kill. But the last member, this is gonna be Eddie. He would be stormed in if he tries reviving either one of them. The grenades being thrown at as well. They were trying to think that he was hiding there. But yeah, I mean, it does look like Eddie. They have a safe place right here to resurrect his teammates. And yeah, I think they pretty much got it as of now. Syndicate, however, pretty much healthy at this point.
Yeah, Syndicate's still up in the running. La Familia RIP has just 1 more elimination more than Syndicate, however. And so with that, despite being an open field last few minutes, we're still seeing them trying to get defensive. I mean, play defensively, play really safely. And so, like totally against my expectations. Still, these teams they don't want to initiate any fights, and we're already 24 minutes into this Miramar map. All the while, we're looking at VTM7 actually, and I think they have information that LHC's lucidity is nearby. So let's see if I don't know, maybe VTM7 will do something about that, and of course LHC. They do have backup from behind, but both of these teams, alongside La Familia RIP, they're probably gonna have to go ahead and get into the circle because right now that circle is already in stage number 7, and I'm sure if that blue zone touches you, you're gonna be losing a lot of health. So they're gonna get a move on. They're gonna be forced to rotate, and with that, something interesting is probably gonna happen.
Definitely. Again, still Syndicate with its 4 eliminations, VETM7 the same thing as well, and OPZ pretty much alive with 3 eliminations. Nahi would be taking one down, eliminating OPZ Esports. One of our top 4 teams would be saying goodbye, and Syndicate just taking them down. Now, Bogobe chasing them down as well, but Bogobe was too aggressive. He falls down. However, on the left side, Lucidity fighting his own battles as well, trying to get those shots down, but he will have to heal himself up. Lucidity, however, will claim a kill and will probably be waiting to confirm that one.
Yeah, they better confirm that kill real soon because there's a lot of there's a lot going on. There's a lot of teams are still up and they're running and they don't want to give up their spot on the leaderboards. But for right now, Matu from Lance Esports spots one possible kill, but on the other hand, they're the ones who will be taking a lot of damage from those bullets. But they managed to get away. Now they cannot get away from that grenade, however. Gets knocked down. Lance Esports Vital also goes down as well, and Luzum, I believe, and Naji as well. They're gonna be the 2 players left. That will be the hope of Lance Esports. And the important thing right now is to play the cards right, especially since Syndicate is right outside of this corridor. And with that, Lance Esports, what would they do now that they're down to 2 players and they have to deal with Syndicate as well?
I mean, definitely, that's just a very intriguing question, especially that we have here the last 5 teams. But the guns connecting, Nahi taking one down, just finalizing the kill. Lons on the other hand will take a kill down as well. And now we're down to the last 4 teams. Naji from Lons will be taking those kills, getting those points now with the 6 eliminations to their name. But VTM7, 2 members remaining, 5 points, making that into a 6-point. Could possibly be taking the number 1 spot, especially with Syndicate and OPC taken down. They just have to win this one, and they will have a chance to take the first place. Lons, on the other hand, would trying to stop them as well. RIP and LHC would also be the contrarians out here trying to put a stop to this one.
Yeah, put a stop on that one, but I hope that doesn't actually happen because this game needs to get a move on. We're already 27 minutes in, and hopefully, usually Miramar maps are longer than Erangel maps, but I sure hope this Miramar map will not be longer than the previous Erangel map. So right now, Lance Esports, they've secured the buildings, and some of these other teams are actually out in the open, so they have a bit of a disadvantage, especially in terms of defenses. But VETM7's working really well with that, despite the fact that they have a little bit of a disadvantage. But right now, that circle's not going to favor them, so they're going to be moving on really carefully. And we can already see them suffering from that misfortune. I mean, they're taking some damage. That'll be Orpheus taking a lot of damage. They're down to 1/3 of their health, but all the while over here, LHE Esports 49. The spot Lance Esports actually gets those bullets in the bag. Vital gets knocked down, but unfortunately, Luzum ends them, and with that, we're down to 3 more teams left.
There we have it. 3 teams remaining, and now, and especially that the play zone will be restricted once again. They have no choice but to go out in the desert just to fight them out in the open. Ooh, that's actually very clever, using the vehicles to guard them, but he is just near the danger zone as well, so that's just gonna be difficult from here on out to try to fight them against all odds, try to win this one. And it's just gonna be very difficult. RIP will take one down, getting those shots in. VE to STM7 would be eliminated now, down to the last two teams going in for a couple of sprays. La Familia rip, the grenades coming in, trying to take them down. Now I think that's Leon's or Lons. I think that's Lons. Lons would be facing a difficult time right here to win this against La Familia Rip, because the grenades are just rolling in. Lons, Matthew already being eliminated, and would be chasing them down, the last two members remaining, with no choice but to fight.
Yep, no choice but to fight. I mean, what else can you do at this situation, especially when we're down to the last leg of this competition? I mean, for these teams, this is very crucial. This is their last chance to bag that victory, and those placement points are very, very tempting. And so they have to play the cards right. It's between Lons Esports, La Familia RIP, Naji trying to get those bullets in. And La Familia is getting shot at, definitely. They're taking a lot of bullets, but they still stay alive. Vital E getting shot at, but in the end they do get knocked down on the side of Lons Esports. Naji still alive. Grenades up. That's a Molotov, actually. Vecna is dancing in the fire, but unfortunately it's not gonna be an elimination on their side. Lons Esports is basically going against RIP, and it's a little bit confusing because they have the same color. But it looks like Lons is not doing quite well. They have two knockdowns. La Familia is doing quite well. And Vecna, amongst the fire, tries to get those bullets in. But in the end, La Familia will be saying RIP.
A very clever way to end the game, especially being at the last game for PMNC PUBG Mobile's National Championship Maldives, of course. We are just excited as you are, especially that while we are talking out here, the points are being finalized, and we would know the winners later on. But it was a really a nice way to end the series with that game. And while that was happening as well, there also
Yeah. I And yeah, that pretty much concludes our PUBG Mobile National Championships Maldives 2025. And with that, thank you so much to everyone involved. Thank you so much for the back end for making this possible, the organizers as well. And thank you for thank you, Mike, for casting with me, and thank you for the teams for participating, and every one of the viewers in the live stream for supporting this event. And once again, this has been PUBG Mobile National Championship Maldives 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be seeing you in the next event.